Good evening, everybody. I'm Matt Williamson, and you're watching Pop Goes the 60s, and I just want to do a brief review of the Anthology 4 tracks that were just released. And I'm just going to look at the new tracks. There's about 13 new tracks that we have never heard before that have not been released. I never planned on buying before. You coming up here, Bogey? Come on up here. Join us. And here's Bogey, folks. He hasn't been around much lately, but he, as always, when I do a video down here, he has to get right in the middle of things. Anyway, Anthology 4 was not something I was going to purchase. I was not that interested in it because, see what I mean? Because, you know, I had most of the tracks, and these new tracks I figured I could just get on their own. I didn't need any big package or even a small package. And I must confess that once I started listening to these tracks, I started getting in the Beatles spirit. It's, you know, getting toward the holidays, and it's always kind of a nice Beatle time. And I started really getting into these new tracks, more than I thought I would. So I'm just going to go over most of them here briefly. And so let's just start at the top. So we got This Boy, Take 12 and 13. Very nice track. I don't have too much to say about this one or Tell Me Why, which is takes 4 and 5. These tracks are, you know, they're just fun to listen to. I really enjoy listening to the talking. I almost enjoy the talking more than the track itself. I could probably listen to a full anthology of just them talking at the sessions. I think that's absolutely fascinating. Okay, we go to If I Fell, take 11. This was very interesting. You know, John is introducing the song. He's hitting the guitar strings in that intro differently. And I thought that was kind of cool. I really like that. And, you know, these are all takes that are pretty close to the end. I noticed most of the takes on these new tracks are close to being finished. So these are not super raw takes, and which maybe they didn't want to release those. I mean, I'm sure they've got very raw stuff, but they went with the stuff that's closer to being finished. And we got Matchbox, take 1. What would we do without Matchbox? You know, I think they just threw this one in there to give Ringo a vocal. I think that's the only reason. You know, I think other than that, I wouldn't have put it on there. I'm sure there were other tracks that might have been more interesting, like Every Little Thing, take 6 and 7. You know, love that bass. That track, again, is almost finished. So we've got the camaraderie between the guys, the players, and again, this talking before the tracks. Very nice. What are you doing? Come on. No. Okay, next song, I Need You, take 1. Now, I really like this version. And the song I Need You, I always felt was one of George Martin's lowest moments with the Beatles. Poorly produced. The tone pedal guitar doesn't work well for me. And I don't think it works well for a lot of people. This is more a stripped down version. I think had they pursued something along this line, they might have made something more of the song. I've heard other groups cover I Need You in a way that was better than the Beatles, I'm sorry to say. But I think I put some of the blame at George Martin's feet on that one. Okay, we've got I've Just Seen a Face, another great Paul song. The next track, we've got 2 tracks from Rubber Soul, maybe something we're going to see in the future if they ever release the Rubber Soul box set. In My Life, take 1. Now, it's really hard not to like this take. It's hard to not like that song. I'm surprised this is take 1. It sounds pretty darn tight. They must have rehearsed it quite a bit before they came in. I don't know if I assume that Paul and John rehearsed it because their vocals sound pretty good on this for being take 1. Okay. Next song, Nowhere Man. Okay, so this is another track where we have a mostly instrumental track. So we have the intro 3-part harmony, which it's a little bit different pacing, a little bit different, what's the term? Timing of how they change those harmonies up and deliver the vocal. But it's great hearing just that. And I started really enjoying listening to these instrumental backings. We have that also on, okay, Fool on the Hill, take 5. So this is an instrumental backing. I found that the guitar was so much more pleasurable to listen to on this take. And that's one of the beauties of listening to the instrumental takes, is that you're just more focused on certain instruments as opposed to the vocals and some of the other things that are laid on. So it makes us pay attention a little bit more. Baby, You're a Rich Man. Okay, this is take 11 and 12. So this is the actual take they used for the finished song. I know this song so well, and this is a song before it's been sweetened and before it's been mixed. So I thought this was really interesting, but they didn't, maybe they mentioned this in some of the booklets that you guys got with the box set or the CD set or whatever, but this would be the same take as the finished take, just in raw form, which I thought that was interesting that they would kind of bother with that. The funniest part about it is that Paul is asking for some cannabis resin at the beginning of the track, so they're getting ready to do this track in more ways than one. Okay, All You Need Is Love, the rehearsal for the BBC. Again, this is more really fun talking by the guys, and at the intro, and a very nice run through. There's a BBC announcer talking over some of it, so I'm surprised that they included that. They probably couldn't extract that from this particular take. But one of the things I caught near the end of the fade out, where you can hear John kind of ad-libbing more, he says, "Anybody got a bit of money?" That's what they tried to put on Taxman in a different take a year before. So I thought that was interesting that he would kind of revisit that in the fade out of All You Need Is Love. Okay, we're moving to I Am the Walrus. Now, anything that you've got of this song, I just love to hear. So this is basically the orchestral string overdub. And what I like to hear on this is the brass. Hey, quiet. Give me a minute here. I'm almost done. Okay, I lost my place. A clarinet is also heard. There's like a French horn or trombone at the end that's much louder. It's more isolated. So it's just great to hear the strings and the brass by themselves. And it gives me a much bigger appreciation for what George Martin contributed to their music overall. You coming up here? Come on. Try this again. You're going to get right on top of me now, huh? Okay. No. Let me finish this. Okay, so anyway, I'm the Walrus. One of the highlights of these new tracks, I think. Then we got Hey Bulldog, another new one, take 4. This is an instrumental backing. A lot of people were anxious to hear this one. It's great. The thing about this, there's no bass on it. So it's before the bass was overdubbed, presumably by Paul. Now we've got a couple songs here that we've got the 2025 remixes of Free as a Bird and Real Love. Now, no. Free as a Bird. I've mentioned this before because I think it got out before. I have a fan mix of somebody who did this a couple years ago. I prefer this fan mix to the remix here. I don't know. There's something sounds strange. It just doesn't sound full enough. And it's difficult to use the software, manipulate and try to build up these voices. As I said, a lot of I think fan mixes over time will be the preferred mix going forward, because I just think, fans will take the time and the effort. They're not getting paid. They're going to do it for the love of it, and that might render a better mix. Hey, I just want to do a quick insert here. One thing I forgot to mention was the remix of the 2025 version of Now and Then. And thank God it's been remixed 2 years on. It really needed it. It's made all the difference in the world. I jest, of course. You probably know my feelings on that song. I did a video on it 2 years ago. And the focus of that video was more on the reaction, how people reacted to the song, my observations in that regard. And I didn't really do a review of the song. So I've remedied that. I've done a full review on the song, and that's posted on Substack. I've got an article that I wrote on that. So I'm going to post that in the comments below. And I'm going to put a link to my video at the end of this video. So it's clear to me that Now and Then should have debuted on this Anthology 4. And it seems very strange that Beatles couldn't have the vision to see that through. They very clumsily placed it on the 67 to 70 compilation, the Blue album that was remixed and released a couple of years ago, where it doesn't really belong alongside all of those wonderful classics from the 60s. Back to the video. We have Real Love 2025 remix. Now, I'm sitting there listening to this on my computer, and I'm kind of reading, doing some stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, did I miss something? Where's George's guitar? The best frickin' part of the song. The tastiest, most wonderful licks of any of those three new songs are Harrison's guitar in Real Love. So the song is literally 20 seconds shorter than the one we were used to on the original Anthology. Now, I'm sure many people are up in arms about this. I couldn't believe it. I thought, at first, this must be a mistake. Why would you remove that? I couldn't think of a possible reason to remove that. I thought, this has to be a mistake. So, whatever it is, I'm sure some of this will come out in time. But whatever the excuse is, why would you do that? I mean, the thing about, you can't take something away from somebody. You got to give them more. And that's going to be a problem with the new Beatles, starting with 2025 here. It seems to me that they'll give us something, but they only give us a little bit of it. They don't give us the whole thing. We know they got it, and they won't give it to us. More on that in my next video. But for this song, Real Love, I just noticed this morning. I haven't even thought about it that much. I'm just banging this video out here just to get it out. It still boggles my mind. On top of that, Lennon's vocal sounds a bit odd. The 2015 remix that was on the Beatles 1 Plus DVD, or was it Blu-ray? I think that's better. And also the Free as the Bird 2025 mix, much like the 2015 remix, changes one of Harrison's lyrics from whatever happened to the life that we once knew. It's changed to whatever happened to the love that we once knew. Changing the meaning quite a bit for my ears. I prefer the life. It seems to be more encompassing for some reason to me. But these little changes, it just seems either it's petty, it's incompetence, or it's trying to screw us. There's no fourth way. Thanks for watching.